to week 7 then in my fantasy football video review and preview, and as you can see, 264 points at this stage in the season. You know, I'm quite proud of it, but not when I reflect on my team and how well it could have done. And I'll tell you why I'm disappointed with game week 7 when I go over my team. So I'm still in the top 2% of all teams that play Fantasy Premier League on the Premier League website. But this week wasn't particularly good because I only got 1 point above average, and I have moved down in the overall standings, even though I've gone up in my league actually. Yeah, it's an unusual thing to be to have remained where I am in my classic leagues, or in some cases gone up, and yet in the global leagues I've somehow gone down. But it's all averages. It's all about maintaining a consistent point scoring, and so far I haven't really done that. Although I'm yet to have a week where I'm below average. So this is my team that has just finished game week 6, and I got 42 points this week. Like I said, a point above average, and it's below my standards. I usually do much better than average, but Begovic, it was turned out to be a good signing last week because Begovic kept a clean sheet. Wes Morgan conceded 2 goals in the Stoke game. Also in that game, Mark Muniesa didn't play a single minute as Mark Wilson took his place following positive performances in the international break. And I think Mark Hughes rested Mark Muniesa with a view to play him in the Bournemouth game, and also in the Carling Cup, in the Capital One Cup game on the Tuesday following. So Muniesa got 0 points and didn't come on in the end because Joe Gomez didn't come on in the end because he also didn't play a single minute. Again, it's a case of players getting rested. I was unfortunate this week that 2 of my defenders were rested, as they've started in every league game up until this week. Joe Gomez didn't come on as Liverpool were chasing the game towards the end and not playing for a draw. But the disappointing thing this week was I had points on my bench, and unfortunately, even though Muniesa didn't play a single minute, Dimitri Payet didn't end up coming on because that would mean I would only have 2 defenders, which is against the rules of the game. So Dimitri Payet had to remain on my bench, frustratingly, even though he picked up an assist and would have scored 5 points in the game at the City, which I definitely wasn't expecting, which is why I benched him for the trip to the Etihad after City's very strong start to the season. And of course Luke Shaw was on the bench again. Another defender who started every United game, even the Champions League games, up until this week, with him having that horrific injury away at PSV in the Champions League. And Jack Butland ended up with 7 points despite conceding 2 goals at home to Leicester. And it was very unusual for a goalkeeper to do that, but Jack Butland is he's plodding along, even though Stoke are in a bit of a rut at the moment. And it's a positive point score for him yet again, with him making some crucial saves, and he was actually given the assist for Walter's goal, which was Stoke's second goal, where he punted the ball up towards John Walters, back to the days of Tony Pulis' Route 1 football, I suppose. But Stoke got a bit of fortune as Wes Morgan failed to pass it back for Kasper Schmeichel, didn't put enough weight on the pass, and John Walters pounced in his first start this season, and the game I saw at the Britannia ended 2-2 with Leicester's second half comeback. So it was a mixed game for Jack Butland, even though he made some fantastic saves, which I think contributed towards his 2 bonus points to go with his assist, which obviously boosted his bonus points score. But I was disappointed that Juan Mata wasn't given an assist in similar circumstances. Jack Butland picked up the assist despite only being the last Stoke player to touch the ball before John Walters scored it, with Wes Morgan touching the ball in between Butland's long kick upfield and Walters scoring a goal. Juan Mata wasn't credited with the assist for Anthony Martial's first goal, which was disappointing for me with Mata in my team, and disappointing for Juan Mata as it was similar circumstances to Butland's assist, with him touching the ball before Font, I think it was, who made the tackle, gave the ball straight to Anthony Martial. And that's my housemates in the background as I shoot this video in my student housing, so apologise for background noise. And so Mata didn't get the assist, which meant that the bonus points went to other players. I think Mata would have got the 2 bonus points had he have got the assist, but apparently he didn't touch the ball in the build up to the goal. So the rest of my team is as follows. Micah Richards, I haven't spoken about him yet. With him, despite being one of the best players in the game, keeping out Saido Berahino for all of 89 minutes, but couldn't stop him scoring the winner, and got a bonus point for his efforts in that game, despite West Brom winning the game and him being on the losing side. Jack Grealish, another player from that game, only got 2 points, even though I was expecting him to perform well in that game, which was a bit disappointing, as I'd thought West Brom at home would be a good game to have Jack Grealish in my team, but it wasn't to be, of course. So I'm thinking about getting Grealish out of my team, as he hasn't performed in that game, and I'm on red alert with him. So on to a player of similar value who really has performed in the opening 6 weeks of the season, and Riyad Mahrez yet again picks up a points tally that is double figures, and he is a must-have at this point. Been saying it for the last couple of weeks, and at this point, if you don't have Mahrez in your team, then I think you're really missing out. Mahrez picked up 11 points because he converted the penalty that started Leicester's comeback, and assisted Vardy's goal with a flick on. So 11 points for Mahrez, and yeah, I mean, 2 bonus points perhaps justified because he was one of the better players in that game, even though Stoke were on top for much of the first half. So Yaya Toure messed up on my captain. It's not the first time I've done that actually. He was the wrong captain choice. I would have been better captaining Mahrez, although I didn't expect Leicester to score 2 goals. I thought it'd be a scrappy 1-0, in all honesty. So, yeah, Yaya Toure, I mean, I said in my previous video that the least points he'd get was for a clean sheet, as I thought City would continue on that record of failing to concede a goal in the opening few games, but that run has come to an end. And Yaya Toure, even though he had about 3 strong efforts at the goal with a lot of power in them that troubled Adrian, wasn't able to get on the score sheet. And Bafétimbi Gomis only got 2 points for playing 90 minutes. And Sergio Aguero would have been a better captain choice than Yaya Toure, in all honesty. He got 5 points and was the most popular captain choice this week, so I was missing out by not captaining him for his assist to De Bruyne for City's goal. So Aguero with the assist for De Bruyne's goal. And my final player for game week 6 was Diego Costa, the much talked about player. Diego Costa, I'm starting to really hate Diego Costa because not only is he hated by many football fans and defenders in particular, as well as myself, I'm starting to turn my back on Diego Costa because I wouldn't mind if he was scoring goals, a bit like Suarez, even though Suarez, of course, scored goals, and Diego Costa has yet to score more than one this season. So it was another disappointing performance from Costa, even though Mourinho said he was the best player on the pitch, which I can't really understand. So Diego Costa is getting on my nerves, and at 11 million you've got to score points, which he hasn't really done consistently so far, and he will be my next player to get rid of. My team value is quite impressive, perhaps more impressive than my team in terms of points actually. I've totted up a team value of 102.2 million. So I've gained money on my team since starting the game. So as Noel Gallagher says, don't look back in anger and roll on game week 7. It's time for my team to start hitting big points again. So starting with my goalkeeper and defence for game week 7, I've got Begovic for Newcastle away, which I said in my previous video, having got Begovic in my team following Courtois' injury, I said that Begovic would keep a clean sheet away at Newcastle, and I stand by those thoughts, and that's why I've decided to play Begovic over Jack Butland at home to Bournemouth. Stoke haven't kept a clean sheet so far this season, and I don't expect them to do so against Bournemouth with the form Callum Wilson is in so far this season. And I've doubled up on Chelsea's defence, and I've started Marc Muniesa, hoping that he regains his place in the team just in case Stoke keep out Bournemouth. And I think he's better placed to keep a clean sheet than Wes Morgan, who is playing Arsenal at home, and Micah Richards, who's got Liverpool away. So some tricky fixtures for my team, but I'm not going to play my all-out attack chip with Grealish away at Liverpool. So I've made 2 changes from the team that started game week 6. Kurt Zouma coming in for the injured Luke Shaw, and my captain Dimitri Payet at home to Norwich is a favourable fixture for West Ham. Even though they perform well against the big sides, as we saw against Newcastle, they can also pull off a win against smaller clubs. So, or weaker clubs, should I say? Sorry, Newcastle fans. So I've captained Dimitri Payet. It's a gamble, with Payet being so low owned, and the likes of Yaya Toure and Sergio Aguero being owned by so many. But I need to make up the points, and I think I can do that by captaining a player who is only owned by 12% of teams. So that's my team for game week 7. I'd like to know what your team is, and roll on game week 7.